how SpaceX transports its rockets. Rocket launches are a common yet fascinating sight these days, especially given how companies like SpaceX are innovating sophisticated, reusable rocket technologies. This benefits the paying customers, including NASA and the private sector, as it lowers the cost of launches. But while most of us get to spot rocket fly high into the sky or even live stream them on YouTube, one thing that's not often talked about is the process of getting the gigantic machine to the launch pad in the first place. In today's video, we'll see how SpaceX transports its rockets. Don't forget to like this video and support us by subscribing to our channel. Let's get into this. Elon Musk's impressive cosmic side hustle makes headlines almost every day. Be it spectacularly fluffing Starship landings or sending astronauts to space. Still, there's an aspect to his operation which all too frequently gets overlooked, even by Musk's vast army of international followers. Before we get to the exciting, cutting-edge Starship program, let's look at how the company's Falcon 9 rockets have traditionally been moved around. Falcon 9 is, after all, the mainstay of the entire SpaceX operation. Launching a record 26 successful missions in 2020 alone, indeed, it's probably fair to say Falcon 9's competence single-handedly keeps the company running and gives peace of mind to the investors who might otherwise be freaked out by footage of starships exploding.
Look over there, that's a quarter section of the Falcon 9.
Back in the non-existence of the Falcon 9 rocket, NASA used combinations of air, road, and sea travel to transport rocket components from different parts of the country to Florida. Barges carried the first stage, while transport planes and large trucks carried the smaller components. As today's reusable rockets are so much thinner and more road-friendly than NASA's Saturn V, road travel has become the most applicable means of transporting components. Falcon 9 rockets are manufactured in the company's headquarters in Hawthorne, California. This distance is around 2,500 miles if you're curious where the rockets are usually launched in Florida. These spacecrafts make the journey from Hawthorne after initial assembly, the first stage, on the beds of massive 44-wheeled trailers. One of the major considerations for Falcon designers was consequently to ensure that the rocket's girth is narrow enough to make it under highway bridges and other such obstacles that it could possibly encounter on its road trip. Under the current configuration, Falcon's engines, 9 Merlin engines, are currently transported from Hawthorne to SpaceX's specialist testing facility in Texas for testing and then sent back to Hawthorne for reattachment to the first stage. A 2,800-mile round trip that's before even setting off for Florida.
We got hot dogs! What the heck is that?
SpaceX typically subtracts these shipping runs to establish firms with an aerospace experience like Bale Brothers to avoid expensive damage to components. The rockets are usually covered in protective material or fabric. After that, the Falcon 9's second stage and all of its landing gear are transported separately via different trucks, and the logistics are carefully timed to ensure that everything gets to the destination in a timely manner. Once arriving at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the second stage and landing gear are attached to the first stage. Falcon 9 is moved onto a particular piece of apparatus known as the transport erector and elevated into vertical orientation, ready for final checks and ultimately launch sequence.
Holy smokes, man.
As mind-blowing as the Falcon 9 process is, SpaceX has pulled it off successfully so many times now that it seems almost straightforward. What's interesting is what goes on in Boca Chica with the company's new generation of Starship craft. Since May last year, when SpaceX pulled off the not inconsiderable feat of delivering actual human beings into orbit, Elon Musk has decided to dedicate even more of his vast resources and mind to making the Starship project a success. This means a fast-track program of manufacture in order to refine and iterate designs. In short, Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, and he isn't waiting for a lifetime for this to happen. His company has set up a new facility in Boca Chica, a little east of the town of Brownsville. The Boca Chica facility exists to build as many Starship prototypes in as short a time as possible.
You see them both light up?
Doing the bulk of assembly in some manufacturers so near the launch site obviously reduces a load of those tedious highway miles. As Elon Musk has offered generous incentives to local people and businesses to move out, he has a great deal more flexibility on the launch schedules than when relying on other people's infrastructure. Another thing to consider is that the new generation spacecraft are far too large to fit under highway bridges. As you might expect, the process of getting a Starship ready for launch is still being worked out, but the recent ill-fated SN9 is worth holding up as an example. Starship's individual rocket sections are moved by truck into one of two bays, the mid-bay and newer high bay, where they can be assembled. The high bay is 81 meters high and is designed to protect the stacking and welding from the sometimes intense climate of Boca Chica. For now, the bay lacks its own internal roof crane or gantry, with cranes situated outside the bay for now, doing the heavy lifting such as installing the nose cone. Some observers believe this apparent oversight is a deliberate Starship design, and even more so that the more extensive upcoming Super Heavy is still iterating and evolving. Only when a consistent design is settled upon will expensive fixed hardware be installed in the high bay. Once the rocket is stacked, a hired crane known as Tankzilla performs the not trivial task of moving the completed Starship out of the high bay and ready for transportation to the launch pad. Tankzilla is a lattice boom crawler crane used elsewhere in the industry to help erect giant wind turbines. It can carry a load of up to 600 tons and zoom along like a snail at 0.85 miles per hour. Once out of the high bay, the Starship is moved onto a self-propelled modular transporter. Tankzilla is again brought into service at the other end of the journey to lift the completed Starship onto the pad for final checks. In particular, the static fire engine tests that ensure everything is looking good at the very least from a fundamental plumbing point of view. Then it's just a matter of clearing the area. SpaceX works closely with Texas authorities to give ample notice of road closures and then to wait for good weather. The whole Boca Chica sequence is designed to accelerate the process of trying out prototypes in order to reach what Musk has referred to on Twitter as his hop in and go to Mars goal. Ultimately, the plan is to reuse his rockets. He just needs to work on getting them down in one piece, obviously. Now that was an exciting journey. With rocket segments traveling across the country to having a base at Boca Chica, SpaceX has advanced a lot. And it's not far from when the Starship would be successful in its mission. Have you ever seen a rocket transport on a highway? Can you think of a better way of moving rockets from one place to another? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tech content. In the meantime, check out our other videos on SpaceX. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.